Unbelievable. Now the microphone works. I don't understand now. I don't change anything and it all changes and everything just goes completely weird. Like the webcam has gone completely weird. I don't know why. Which one is it? Is it that one? Or is it that one? I don't know. It's everything's gone strange, man. It's not. It should be wearing a cap day. I mean, with the state of my hair today. But hey, it's not. Let's get the folks on Discord involved because there are people in there waiting. Hello, Discord. If they can hear me, of course. I don't know because everything's gone weird. Everything's gone really bizarre. Let's take this sound down on the game for one because we don't need that. It's just annoying background noise. So anyway, hello everybody. So we got Stige, hello Spicy, we got Nikolai, Yuri, or is that Yuji? I don't know. You have to tell me how to pronounce it. Gaming Tanker, Leppy, hello, Kathmandu, yeah, it did become overly dramatic, but that is the last of the Mohicans for you. Joe, yeah, it is cold in the Rockies, and it was interesting that you only watched that movie last night. What a great film it is, though. Hi, Phil, no, it's not cap wearing. I mean, I have got Extreme Ways by Moby, but seriously, there is only so many times I can be copyright striked and basically told off and demonetized on a video. There you go.
Why did you receive a copyright strike for?
I receive a copyright strike every time I do one of these because I put music up the front and I have to then go in.
Have you been naughty again, Fugit?
I'm always naughty because music's a good thing.
Use NTS.
Do what?
Copyrighted music. NTS channel.
No, because it's yeah, but it's not dramatic music. It's different, and I'd rather stick it on the front of the countdown, let it count down, and then go back later and just say, delete the music, because why not? I'm really pissed off about that camera. Why is that camera like that? I don't know why it's like that. It should be like that. I should be in the middle of the frame, not to the side.
Here's a hi to Stygian. He's telling me where is my hi. Hi Stygian, how are you?
I said hello to Stygian. You didn't say hello. I said hello. So, I'm having a cigarette, I'm having a coffee. It's a Saturday afternoon. It's like 5 o'clock here in the UAE. It's God knows what time it is where... Oh, the Gaming Tanker. Merry Christmas indeed. Wowzers. Do you think light tanks deserve some type of a buff? Yeah, I do. Although saying that, in the recent update, the Vickers got nerfed and the Batchat did get buffed. So, but yeah, the lights.
The Batchat nerf feels minimal, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean,
it doesn't feel that high. Only 0.2 seconds of buff.
It's very minimal, to be honest.
Yes, very minimal.
Yeah, but it's still a buff, and they'll go back. But no, I do think that the lights do need looking at, especially some of them. I mean, the Vickers needed to be nerfed. To be fair, I mean, it was ridiculous.
The Batchat is nice, but compare it to the Vickers or the Sheraton, and you'll see that most of the times the Batchat loses.
Yes.
But
yes, I think after they removed the ATGMs, I think the Sheridan is much better now.
Well, we'll get to that. We'll get to that later. We'll get to the Sheridan and the T92 later because that's a big topic. But in answer to the Gaming Tankers question, then absolutely, definitely, yes. They need to go back and have a look at those light tanks. But let's move forward quickly. By the way, I'm absolutely made up Gaming Tanker. That's made my Christmas no end. What's in the store? Well, I've got the old store for some reason. I don't know why that's showing here. I don't know why. Well, it's sort of an old. Well, it's not. So this is what I've got in my store at this moment in time, and now I'm doing both here. This is on the EU, and I've also got my iPad open on Asia. And the reason being is because bundles only shows me a lockbox key, which is no bloody good. So I'm trying to work out what's actually in the store. Now, in my EU store at the moment, we've still got ×5 for tier 8 vehicles. I don't know if that's still in or if that's old, to be honest with you.
It's still in.
It's still in.
7,500 gold for it.
Yeah. Now, the thing is, I mean, that was ideal when Uprising was on, to be honest with you. Not so ideal now. Because when you were doing Uprising, you could buy these bundles and you could jump into an Uprising game in your tier 8 and you could grind away to your heart's content and get to a tier 9 in pretty swift order. In fact, I know somebody who did that. It's just popped into the chat and his name is Jori. And he did that, exactly that, with the Chinese TD. And I think he grinded it in a day, didn't you, Jori?
Yes, I did. And I grinded the T57 heavy.
And the T57 heavy in a day. Because you can when you've got those ×5 for the tiers. So it's not bad, but Uprising is now gone. So I don't know. It's still a good deal.
Gravity will come back, I think.
Gravity is due to make an appearance, yes. So it's still a good deal.
Yeah, sometimes the next week.
Yeah.
18th December.
Yeah.
No, it's confirmed.
Oh, hey,
It's
good.
confirmed.
That's a funny one.
So it is still a good deal. Oh, and it's something else has just jumped in. The regular resource supply. This bundle includes. Well, that's meant to be in the shop. Oh well, anyway.
5,000 gold.
So it's
That's
meant
1
5,000
million
gold, million credits, and 14 days of premium, all for a whopping price of about $7 roughly.
$5, I think.
20.
$5.
Well, it's 25 dirhams, so it's about $7, isn't it?
It's worth it. It's good.
It's not
Can
bad.
give you,
It's not bad, to be fair.
Not
It
bad.
isn't bad.
can help you grind something. Any line you want now.
Yeah, there's a million credits and
5,000.
5,000 gold and 14 days of premium. I mean, 14 days of premium, just to put in the picture, is well, it's 2,000 gold. So, and 2,000 gold is, just to put you in the picture, about, yeah, it's roughly about about $5, $6. So you're actually getting a good deal there if you look at it logically, because you're getting the premium account, you're getting the
It's very
credits,
good
and
deal,
you're getting the gold. So it's not bad.
Also, this good discount.
Yeah.
Minus 80%. Very good.
Then you've got 6 mod containers. I don't know what these are. You get, each container includes the modified lightning legendary avatar. Woohoo! Because you just want avatars, yeah? With a 2% drop chance. Wow, it's even better. Or a guaranteed random reward. I mean, I have no idea what this lightning legendary avatar is, to be honest with you.
So,
It looks.
quickly about avatars and
wonderful.
more useless stuff, I want to say something. The Belgian government has officially been the first one to force Wargaming to remove loot boxes from the regional store.
Oh, well, there you go.
So we no longer are able to buy crates here.
Oh, really?
Bro.
Oh, well, there you go, look.
What?
And who said that the Belgians aren't progressive? Despite the fact they haven't had a government despite the fact they're the longest running democracy that's never had a government. Go figure.
You mean just about a year?
Yeah. Well,
I think the top was 1.5.
I think you topped the records at almost 23 years without a functioning government at one stage.
Oh, we topped it twice? Why not?
There you go.
Hilarious to see.
So unless you're in Belgium, where me going through all these containers is absolutely useless to you nowadays, for the rest of the European market and North America and Asia, they've still got lock boxes, China notwithstanding. Now, I don't know what this is. I mean, I don't know what this lightning avatar is. Let me just have a check on something.
Check in the office. It is 3,000 of this avatar's charms, I think.
I'm very interested what this lightning avatar
It's near
is.
the AMX, near the AMX30 bundle. Take it. Near the AMX30.
I don't have one. What is it? Special. There it is. Modified lightning avatar. That's what it looks like. It's blue and yellow with a sort of purplish lightning strike. So there you go. You can have one of those. You can have one of those with a 2% drop chance of getting one of those if you play your cards right and spend 3,000 gold to get 4 containers. Woohoo!
honest, I do just now notice, how on ever am I going to get the Centurion Mark 5 to 1?
But you
Don't
can't now because
get
you're in
it now.
I
Belgium.
don't have crates in my country!
Yeah, you can't in your country.
Don't,
So
don't
there
get
you
it
go.
started now.
I mean,
No,
I can't. I don't have the crates in my country. They're literally unavailable.
now, on top of that, you can actually change this lightning avatar for splinters. Splinters, I hear you ask? These are the things that you wrap your arm in when they're broken? I don't know, is the honest answer. You can get camouflages for the animated intruder epic camo for any tiers 1 to 3, 4 to 6, 7 to 8, or 9 to 10, and the drop chance is 6.25%. I mean, I don't understand it. They can also be changed for splinters. I don't understand what splinters are. So you get 100 splinters.
It's an avatar. It's
and,
an avatar type.
what can I say? I mean, splinters, yeah. Or you can get 203 XP. Why would you spend 3,000 gold on this? I don't know, is the honest answer at this moment in time. I just don't know, is my honest and fair answer. So, without further ado, I'm going to move on from that one, because that just looks bizarre and weird. Don't know what these splinters are, doesn't tell me much.
An avatar
You
currently.
can buy an avatar crate.
Yeah, I mean, again, if you're anywhere but Belgium and China, then you can get the Centurion Mark 5-1, the Tier 8 British stroke Australian tank.
Australia. The British, but
Well,
exported to
it's
Australia.
only Australian once you get the Dingo camo. Until you get the Dingo camo, it's still a British medium tank. It's Tier 8. It's actually a nice tank, but it's in containers, guys, and it's a 3%
Wait for
drop chance.
gold.
Yeah, wait for it to
the
come
gold
out.
come back.
It's a lovely tank, but it's not giving you anything that you don't already potentially have in Tier 8, other than a new tank. So you're not missing much. It's a nice tank, but it's not as if it's overly broken or OP and it's setting the world on fire. It's not. So why get the containers, guys? It's a good tank, but it's a 3%
Wait for
drop
its
chance.
gold
Wait
come
for
back.
it to
Maybe
come out.
10,000 gold.
Yeah, just
Maybe
wait
it
for
comes
it.
for 10,000 or 10,500.
Yeah, just
will
wait
be
for it to
worth
come out.
For gold only. Only for gold. Even the MX 30B is a good deal, but a little bit expensive.
Yeah, I mean, still in the store, you got the AMX M4 49 and the Chimera or Chimera or Chimera or whatever you want to call it. 12,500 for 2 tanks. The Chimera is a nice tank. The AMX M4 is also a nice tank if you know how to play it. Comes with all the equipment unlocked. It comes with all the equipment unlocked. You get the camos and you get a load of certificates. It's actually not a bad deal. You can get the tanks individually, Chimera for 9,000 with the equipment unlocked, which again isn't too bad. Or you can get the AMX for 7,500 again with the equipment unlocked. So if you're thinking about getting these tanks, spend the extra gold, guys, and get both of them together. Then, as you can see there, you still got the containers and all the containers, lots of containers, thousands of containers. The AMX 30B is still there for 15,000, which is not a bad price for a tier 10 tank, which is a nice tank. It's a mixture between a Leo 1 and an STB. It is a nice tank. I was speaking to Martin Dogger about this the other day. He loves it. He thinks it's fantastic. And I must admit, if you like these sort of tanks, it is a very nice tank indeed. Still got the snipers, which is the SU-130 PM and the ISU-130. I'm a bit.
The ISU 130 is not good.
No, I'm not. I'm not a big fan of the 130. I know Sarah is 420X
It's
Sarah.
like the SU 100Y, but in tier 8. Not worth it. Buy the SU 130. It's very good.
The SU-130 is a nice tank, but I'm not. Well, the SU-130M, I'm not overly convinced. And that's about it. Apart from, oh look, avatar containers. You've got to get those, guys, because you need avatars. Yeah, I mean, you can get a container full of avatars, or you can get a mod container with the lightning avatar. Woohoo! Bundles, lockbox keys.
Don't
Now,
buy them. Don't buy that.
Now,
Not
what's
worth
this
it.
for? Ah, this is for the Chieftain Mark 6. A tank that has been in the game a long time. And now it's suddenly in a lockbox. Now, the thing is,
One.
it is a 2% drop chance of getting that tank. That, well, 2%. Well,
Wait for Blitz Fair. Good advice for you guys. Wait for Blitz Fair. It will come.
I don't know. I don't think the Mark 6 will. Not if they're putting it in a lockbox.
There is a leak of the Blitz Fair of this year.
Leaks are not official. I don't think they'll
Only
put the
the
Mark.
pictures,
I don't know if they'll put the Mark 6 in Blitzfair. I'm not sure, but I'd be surprised, especially if they're putting it in lockboxes at this moment in time for you to spend cash to get. So you'll have to wait and see what happens in Blitzfair. And of course you got the Merry Pass, and of course you got the Low in the E25, and the Piercing Tetriac, because we don't want you to seal club, so there you go, you can get a tier 2. Woohoo! Mod containers, large winners kit, loads of stuff that you can get because it's that time of year. Mark 5 1 containers again, etc, etc. So there's quite a lot going down at the moment, but same old in real terms. Oof! So,
And by the way, there will be a new event. Not an event, but
no, there's a new event. There's a new event. There's a New Year event.
December 14th to December 20. Complete a special mission. Each time you complete it, you get some feathers as a part of the 2 new Horizon avatars. You need 5 parts in total, so you can skip one day. You can exchange the completed avatar for 1000 gold or leave it in your collection.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that
You
one
can
next
see-
week, Spicy, because it's not released yet, mate. And there's a lot of stuff that is coming out next week. As we mentioned, there will be. Hang on a moment. There will be a new event. It's where you're going to get the snow globes and stuff. So that will kick off next week, where you may get a chance to get your paws on a tank. I don't know yet, though. It's not been announced. But there may be a tank up for grabs. We just don't know yet. And then you've got Blitzfair coming. And then you've got Gravity Mode coming. In fact, there's a lot of stuff coming. So, there's a lot of things going on. The other thing I want to mention, I'm just playing a replay here. The other thing I want to mention is if you didn't catch it last night, then there's no excuse for catching it now. Get your backsides over to Amunet's channel and watch her 10 Tears of Christmas giveaway. Because she does it every year around this time. And it's open to everybody and it's going to be good fun. It's going to be good fun. And there's lots of stuff up for grabs. Lots.
Found something from for today, this year's Blitz Fair. Some good deals.
I don't know yet. It's not been announced.
Only in Vortex Blitz post and Discord. It says the tank that will come in Blitz Fair. It is the WZ1122-2,
Yeah, that'll come.
Frankenstein, Lorraine 40, German Bulldog, Object 252U, Fury, Sherman Fury, AMX 30, Helsing, Dracula, Gravedigger, Predator, Ultramarines, Vindicator, 60 Ice 3 Defender, and T28 Defender.
Yeah.
Only those.
Yeah, that's correct. Those are the
Have the
ones.
M60. Not the
No,
Dracula. Your choice, guys.
so there's plenty coming out. There is plenty coming out. But as I was saying, don't forget. I mean, it's 10 Tears of Christmas. It's she does this giveaway every year, and basically, you get to choose what you want to partake in. And she's got different things, doing different things, going for different things to win different things. So there's no excuse really. Let's get on to the big subject then. Here we go. They're gone. They're no longer in the game. ATGMs. That's
The
it. It's all
ATGM.
over.
Oof. Big oof.
It's all over. Nobody now
The
can
training
throw
grounds
a
are
missile. Nobody now can throw a missile over a rock around a corner and land it on your tet. However, I mean, I admit I haven't played the game since the update because real life has intervened. But I was having a good chat with Martin Doggett and a couple of the other CCs, and well, the opinion at the moment is that the Sheridans had a buff, which I expected, because I'll be honest with you, 90% of the player base, in fairness, I would say it's about 90%, were not effective at using missiles.
I'm one of them.
And now you've got normal ammunition. So,
A new velocity, 920 velocity for heat. You can shoot your E100s or mouses very fast. You can't wait for 5 seconds for your missile to reach them. Have a fun day.
so
Well, yeah, but now at least they have to expose in order to shoot. Before
Is
they
that-
didn't.
So if you like the
But the speed
T49,
is very
you
good
would
right
like-
now.
So basically, right now it's a T49, T9,
yeah,
and 10.
Yes.
Except for the good
No,
HE.
no, it just has a. It's not a
No,
T49. It's
it
just
has
has a
way
normal
better-
gun.
It has
way
way
better
better
than-
accuracy. Way better
whoa,
accuracy.
whoa,
and way
whoa,
better-
when it time, Jory was speaking. Let Jory finish, guys. Don't talk over each other, please. Jory, you were
Well,
saying.
It's they didn't make it a T49 gun. T49, yeah. It's not a derp. It's just a normal gun with too much penetration. And
And lower alpha too.
I think, yeah, like if they give that alpha damage, they should make it like the T49 with only the heat, with low pen and with HE, and then it's fine. But now it's not it's
Not fine.
not good.
By the way, the T49 needs a buff in heat. I mean, 163 with calibrated shells. You can't even hit a Tiger.
No. The T49 is very, very good at the
You
current
should-
state.
T49 is
You
good
should
for
you
its
shouldn't
attack right
bu-
now.
you shouldn't buff it.
No, you don't need to buff the T49, but we're not talking about the T49. We're
It
talking
will become
about
OP.
removal of ATGMs.
Yeah, we're talking about the two shit stands that they're above.
So somebody mentioned that. Oh yeah, but now you've got to expose yourself. Well, as I said, 90% of the player base, and that's a rough guesstimate by me, were not able to throw missiles around the map like Juicy Tender Steak, his Royal Fatness, and others. So 90% of the player base were not totally effective when it came to missiles. And they used a lot of APCR. Now, to use the APCR on these tanks, you've got to expose yourself. So now you've got 100% of the player base able to use both ammunitions effectively in these tanks. That is a bit different. Now, I'm not saying that bring back missiles. We miss you with great respect.
If you
What
had
I-
to say that, I would justify you.
No, I'm not going to say that.
Someone clip that out of context, please.
Yeah, I thought, no, don't clip it out of context. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, what I'm saying is, everybody's bemoaned these tanks because of the missiles. I'll be honest with you, the Sheridan has never really been a tank that I've found a problem with. I'm still bemoaning the T92, and I will still bemoan that tank. And the reason I bemoan that particular tank, this is a light tank that has the ability to bounce like a heavy, has the ability to pen and dish out damage like a dirt gun TD, but has the camo profile of a light tank. Not only a camo profile of a light tank, but this thing is tiny. I mean, the Sheridan's massive. The Sheridan is like a barn compared to the T92. I mean, the Sheridan's got a big fat ass and it's quite tall. The T92 is very tiny. It's very squat. It's I think it's a little bit smaller, lengthwise than a Batchat. And a Batchat is tiny. And the T92 now, in my opinion, is still a broken tank. Because it's got massive pen and massive damage.
I mean,
They
the
have the same pen.
T92 has great armor. It's to me, it's an overpowered tank. It should be nerfed because it's got the gun, it's got the armor, it's got the ammo rating, it's got everything you need.
It has.
The dispersion is the same, the aim time is the same, the gun is the same, the turret is the same, but The T92 E1 is very small that even the mouse is barely hitting it. This is gun
That's
depression.
The
I
T92
can't-
Tried
is
it here,
especially
many
basically
times.
just Sheridan without the spaced armor, to be honest.
Yeah.
Sheridan
Can't
Phase
cheat,
is
it's not
OP.
alive.
So, okay, Lockneys, what are you saying?
If I can't itchy it, it's not alive.
Thank you. And this is my argument with the T92. The Sheridan, we'll get to in a moment, but the T92 to me, I mean, taking its missiles away, it's at a buff. Okay? Don't care what you say. It's at a buff because now, don't forget what Wargaming did before they even got to the position of taking away the missiles. They actually nerfed the missiles. They removed the velocity. They lowered everything, and they became slower in a you know lacking in this
That
and
just
that.
made it better, to be honest, because we're easy
Yes.
to aim now.
Well, heat rounds are not missiles. They don't have the same velocity that the missiles had. They have the velocity of a heat round.
True. I mean, now the T92 has just got it's more overpowered than it did when it had the missiles. So, to me, that makes more sense if they would take the missiles out.
And as Jory said, these tanks have not been turned into T49s. T49s come with HE and heat. They don't come with APCR that can dish out 500 alpha plus. That's a lot.
T49s are balanced. If you run in, you clap, and you get stuck on something, you just get instantly HE by a 152 pass.
Yeah, and you can't
do
pen
that in the
anything.
T92 because of that frontal braces. You can't do
And
that
you
in
can't
the
pen
Sheridan
any-
because of the spaced armor.
And you can pen everything.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, on the T49, the penetration values on both ammunitions is pretty shit, to be fair.
Yeah, it's atrocious, to be honest.
Yeah, but the idea behind it is it's a light tank. You're meant to have the mobility and the maneuverability to get around the back of the tanks to shove HE or heat into it. That's the
And it
idea.
shouldn't have all that armor. The T92 is the fact it's a light tank. It shouldn't have all that good armor on it.
Well, I mean, the T90. This is where it becomes all complex. The T92 in real life allegedly had an armor profile at the front of the tank to withstand a nuclear blast. So it did have excessive armor for the type of tank it is. What it didn't have in real life was the big dirt gun that fired missiles. It didn't. It had a little pew 76mm gun. So
Well, if it had that in real life, I think we would have been a bit scared. If that makes sense.
what do you mean?
If it had a missile tank which shot missiles,
No, it never did. Only the Sheridan had that. And the MBT 70, which we know as the Camp 70, by the way. But you have to look at it from a different perspective. I mean, it's not a game sim. It's not a tank sim. So if they were to give you what a tank was like in real life, then the game would be absolutely bizarre and weird, because you would have Hetzers fighting alongside Tiger 2s and IS-3s, because the Hetzer came out at the end of the war, for all intents and purposes. Oh yeah, it came out very, very close to the end of the war.
Oh wait, was it not because they needed like a tube tank or something?
No, they was just it was just an
It
easy
was
way to
cheap
get a
to
tank.
make.
Yeah, it was very easy to make, because all they did, they had a load of chassis from the Skoda factory, which is what it's based on, and they just converted them. And instead of making like Panzer Jaeger 1s in Marder 2s, etc., which took a lot of metal, they encapsulated it all in a fixed casemate and made it smaller. That's all it is.
I mean, well, if you had all those bits lying down, you would probably have to use them if your country is slowly getting invaded.
No, yeah, that's the point. This is why it's not a tank sim, because the Hetzer in real life would sit in between tier 7 and tier 8. Which, if we stuck the Hetzer in tier 7, tier 8, it'd be a nightmare, wouldn't it? Let's be honest.
Yeah.
But on the same token, if you were to give the T92 what it really had in real life, it wouldn't be able to pen anything in tier 8 or tier 9 or tier 10, because it had a 76mm gun. I mean, can you imagine how a 76mm gun would work in tiers 8, 9 and 10? It wouldn't.
I would feel sorry for it. You would have to, literally, you wouldn't have to shoot it. You would ram it and it would die.
This is why they gave it the missile capability, because it was the best thing they could do to make the tank enter into the game. But the fact of the matter is, you know, removing its ATGM capability, has it or hasn't it? I don't know. You guys tell me. I haven't played it. I'm only going on what I've been telling. Has it actually made the tank, giving it a bit of a buff, or not?
Well, it depends, actually. I'm just going to answer it with a straight answer. Yes, it gave it a massive buff.
Oh, the real Peter North. Really? What's your secret, man? Somebody in YouTube chat. Sorry. I mean, who's played? Has anybody played the Sheridan and the T92 since 7.5, the update?
No, I haven't. I played the T49, but that didn't change.
So no one's played it.
No, I don't think so.
Well, I haven't played it, but that's beside the point. So wait to see how. I'm going to wait to see how it works, because I'm interested to see. I am interested to see the stats next month for the T92 and the Sheridan. I want to see if it has actually altered, because I think it may do.
Question.
Yes.
1,465 damage in a tier 4, is that good?
Do what? 1,000? How much?
400.
Depends on what the tier 4 is.
Covenanta.
Covenanta, yeah, it is.
Okay, thanks.
Anything over 1,000 damage at in tiers 1, 2, 3. Well, anything over 600 damage in tier 1 is fantastic. Anything over 800 in tier 2 is fantastic. Anything over 1,000 in tier 3 is fantastic. And anything over 1,200 in tier 4 is fantastic.
How do you like the Rudolph?
I don't.
In
a word, I don't.
I love it. I love it. It's a great tank.
I'm not a big Sherman fan. and a Sherman with antlers stuck on the top is still a Sherman as far as I'm concerned.
You're not a Sherman? I like.
It's all about the camo.
I like the Firefly. I like the Easy 8. And I like.
I have the Easy 8.
And I like the Fury. And those are the only ones I like. The others, don't get me wrong, I've aced every single Sherman. But
yes, so have I.
But I'm not.
Bridget, I
not
dare
a big
you
fan.
to name every single one of them on stream right now.
Oh, I couldn't because there's too many. How many are there? There's how many? There's three in the American. There's 3 in the American tech tree, isn't there? 3 in the tech tree.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
What in the tech
6,
tree?
7. I count 7.
In the tech tree.
We have the Loza, we have
Oh,
the
in the tech
Thunder.
tree, not.
No. You're talking premiums now.
Yeah, but they're still Shermans.
There's 3.
I said, shall we start with the tech tree? Tech tree's different to premium.
There's 2. There's 2 in the tech tree.
That's right, because the Easy 8 was taken out. It's now a collector. So there's 3 in the tech tree. 3 in the tech tree, because don't forget you've got the Firefly, which is still a Sherman.
Yeah.
Which is British.
The British one.
So you've got 2 Americans and a British. You've then got the collectors, which is the Easy 8, and there's another one.
The French one.
The Easy 8 is not a collector. That's the Jumbo.
Jumbo, I meant, is the collector. Jumbo is the collector, yes.
To be honest, they should have kept the Jumbo in the tech tree.
Well,
what's the difference?
Yeah, I don't know why they didn't, to be fair. It's a good tank, is the Jumbo. Because and then you got the Loza Sherman, which is the Russian premium, which is well,
it's all right.
It's okay. It's not fantastic. And then you've got the Sherman before the Firefly in the British tech tree. Which,
they should have a German. They should
Sherman 5.
Sherman 5, yeah. It's not. It's an okay tank. It's difficult to play, but it's okay.
At this point, they should make an American Sherman collect tank.
There are. Jumbo.
Oh, you know what?
I like
give
the
up.
German
There's too many
Sherman.
tanks.
Yeah, Kathmandu correct. FL10M4 is in technicality a Sherman with an AMX turret, but it's still a Sherman hull. It's still a Sherman. The Ram is still a Sherman.
My favourite tank at the moment is the T-3485. It's a great tank.
It is a great tank, but it's not a Sherman. We're talking Shermans. I love the way that we jump. I mean, we're going to get the tech tree up in a minute.
At this point, that the new nations and the Germans are the only ones that don't have a Sherman.
Yeah. Well, let's have a look.
The Russians have them. The Chinese.
Let's have a look. Let's go to the American tech tree first. So we start off with the M4 Sherman. And then we have the M4A3 Easy 8. Those are the two tech tree Shermans that sit in the American tech tree. Okay.
I have the EPA and then 4.
So those are two Shermans. The M7 is based on a Sherman, but it's not. Then we've got Russia. They haven't got any in the tech tree, but we'll get to Russia in a minute. Then we got the British, where we've got the Sherman Firefly.
And the M5.
Where is it? Where is the Sherman 5?
Sherman 5?
Is it tier 5?
Well, yeah, that makes sense. It's called a Sherman 5.
Yeah, but I can't see it in the tech tree. Is it collectible now? Must be. Let's have a look.
Is it?
Where's my team?
Sherman 5 is now a collectible. So it wasn't a collectible when it first came out, but it is a collectible.
I've always remembered it's a collectible.
No, it was tech tree. So you got the Sherman.
I'm pretty sure 5.5 changed that.
And then we've got the it's the Lozers Sherman, which is the Russian version at tier 6. And then tier 4 we've got the M3 Lee, which is based on a Sherman hull, the T40, which is also based on a Sherman hull, and the T6E1, which is also based on a Sherman.
The Ram is also based on the M3 Lee hulls, I think.
Then we've got the Ram 2. Then we've got the M4A2E4, Ram 2, the M4, and that's it. Then at tier 6, we've now got the M4A3E2, and now the Rudolph, and then the Easy 8, and then the Fury.
The Fury is good.
The Fury is a great tank. Has anyone seen the film?
Which one?
The film's great.
And then we have to jump. Then we have to jump to the French tier 8, where we've got the M4A1 Rev, which is also a Sherman. So that's a lot of Shermans.
For FL10.
Yeah.
Is that again?
It's actually Egypt, but they've put it down as hybrid, haven't they?
Yes.
Yeah, they put a
it
steel wagon. That's
existed.
also still a hybrid for some odd reason.
There's one tank in Israel museum.
Yes, it is Egyptian. It's actually Egyptian tank. The FL10 is a real tank. It's Egyptian, but they put it down as hybrid nation, I think.
Wargaming.
It's basically those crazy Egyptians just
There's
lifted
also more
it.
tanks from Egypt.
Lifted
like
it.
the T-34-100.
They
Lots
lifted.
of more different.
They lifted an AMX turret and just shoved it on top of a Sherman. That's all they did. And why did they do that? Because the Israelis had Shermans, and they had captured Shermans.
Every country has
Nope,
Shermans
the
at this
Germans
point.
don't have it, the Italians don't have one, and the Chinese don't have one.
No, that's true. So yeah, there's a lot of Shermans. So getting back to the question.
Because the Italians and Germans had Shermans in armor because of the captured vehicles that they had.
I'm just saying, I'm in a match. I've got 4. I'm in a match. I got 4 kills in my T-34-85, and my team hasn't done anything.
Good for you. Bad for your team.
And I have 64 health.
The Germans didn't rate the Sherman. To be fair, they thought it was a
They did
rubbish
not
tank.
like it.
They thought it was a rubbish tank.
Even the jumbo one.
The only
The
tank that the Germans were worried about was the Sherman Firefly. Funnily enough.
Every time I died.
because it was
to stand the Tiger 1.
one of the only versions that could actually penetrate a Tiger 1 from distance.
Yes.
Because of its
But not
gun.
the Tiger 2.
Yeah.
The Tiger 2 needed a much higher caliber guns, like the M36 Jackson and the Pershing.
So the Germans
Think
did
more.
the Germans did use a lot of captured tanks. Primarily, they've used KV2.
Yeah.
They used T-34-85,
They called it duty panzers.
and they used an M10. And they did use an M10. So the M10 Panther is true because they had a captured M10, and then they dressed Panther tanks up to look like it, so they could use them during the Ardennes offensive to basically take the Americans by surprise. And funnily enough, it
Which
worked.
it
worked.
it worked. It worked, and then they failed because they didn't have enough power.
No, they had more than enough power. They just had no air power. That was the problem.
Well, yeah, they surrounded
And
a
no
little
fuel.
American army group. The Americans then surrendered, and then the Americans finally broke through the blockade, or whatever you want to call it.
Yes and no. The Ardennes offensive was actually at the beginning, because there was atrocious weather, absolutely incredibly effective for the Germans. What happened was the weather broke, and then the Americans and the British fighter bombers were able to absolutely destroy the German tanks, which at this stage were running out of fuel and were basically sat in the open and able to be blown to bits. And that's how Ardennes basically collapsed.
Much the fuel. The Germans. Their focus was on the fuel, because many Tiger 2s, Yak Tigers, and many other tanks lacked of fuel and were abandoned by their crews. Most lacked thing, the war.
Because they didn't want to be captured, and the thing is, the Germans were supposed to destroy the tanks after being abandoned or something, but loads of tanks were not destroyed.
Yeah, that's how
Actually, quite a lot were destroyed.
Yeah, there was quite a lot.
And the reason I say that is because if you notice, there aren't many German tanks from the Ardennes floating around in museums. There's a destroyed Tiger and a destroyed Panther. And when I say destroyed, I mean if you have a look at its running gear in Belgium near the Ardennes forest on a plinth. Not many tanks survived. The Germans did actually. Either they were destroyed by the Typhoon and the Mustangs, the fighter bombers that were being used by the Allies, or their crews did absolutely blow them to bits, because hardly any were captured.
I'm just saying, for example, a tank which was captured, the Tiger 131.
No,
which
that was
has
captured in
still-
Tunisia.
Yeah, which
Yep, that was
still
captured in Africa.
which still has its bullet shots stuck in it.
No, that's actually from a range. That's not actually from battle.
Oh yeah, they were testing the armor, weren't they?
They were testing the armor. That's one they stuck it onto the Lulworth Ranges and shot into it to see what they needed to do to pen the damn thing. The Tiger 131 actually had a running gear problem, and during the retreat in Tunisia, the self-detonation thing didn't go off, so the British were able to capture it intact, with absolutely no problems with it, other than the fact it didn't work because the running gear was down. That's why, and it's taking them a long time to get that tank into working order. In fact, the first time it was used
Everyone
was
liked that Tiger 1.
in Fury.
Everyone liked it.
I'm just saying now. Now the Tiger 131 in the tank museum, they've blown the gun to smithereens. The gun doesn't work on it anymore.
No, the gun doesn't work on it because it's a museum piece, and they have to ruin them. Save people breaking into museums and stealing tanks and firing shit through them. Unfortunately, they have to spike them. They have to spike the barrels. Most tanks you see in museums, especially in the West, I don't know about in Russia, but most of the tanks you see have had their guns spiked. to
I've
stop
been
them
to
from
the
being
base, and a
used
lot of the
again.
tanks in the museum just have their firing range and the tank itself removed.
Mm.
The barrels are still capable of fire, though.
Some of them have concrete thrown down them. Some of them. To be
Not all of them.
No, but some of them to get them spiked, because
You know what
stop
that
people
sounds like?
stealing them.
When you say get them spiked, it kind of sounds like you get them drunk.
No, the term is to spike the barrel. That's the actual term.
Yeah, but it kind of sounds like getting them drunk.
That's right, Galactic Tech. The Ram isn't a US tank. It's actually a Canadian tank. It was one of the oddities that they used for D-Day, funnily enough.
Isn't it listed in World of Tanks as a Canadian vehicle as well?
It is, yes. When it first came out, it was British, but no, it's not British. It's Canadian. And it's like a lot of tanks. For example, the Churchill of various degrees is not the same as the Churchill Black Prince, by the way. The Churchill Black Prince is not a Churchill, funnily enough. It looks like a Churchill, but it's not a Churchill. Made by a completely different company.
What tank?
Which one?
The Black Prince. So the Black Prince, you would think is basically a Churchill tank, yeah, and it is called the Churchill Black Prince, and in real life it's called the Churchill Black Prince, but it's not made by the company that makes Churchill tanks. It's made by
Matilda with.
It's made by a completely different company, which is why in the game the Churchill Black Prince is so much better than any other Churchill, because it was made by a completely different company.
Makes sense.
And it was in real life it was a fantastic tank, but not many of them were built. And if you want to see it, I believe I believe the Churchill BP is in Bovington as well. I'm not sure.
It is. Wait, hold on. Let me think.
Kathmandu, that movie, they've done it a few times. They did it in Saving Private Ryan, and more famously, they did it in Kelly's Heroes, where they took a T-34 and made it look like a Tiger One.
I was watching a film the other day, and they took American tanks, right, and used them as German, and you could easily tell which they look like American.
Yeah, they do that all the time. I mean, Battle of the Bulge is a famous one, where they took leopard and you know, in A Bridge Too Far, they took Leo ones and made them look like panthers.
It's stupid.
Well, yes and no. I mean, it's.
No, but
you say that, but do you know how difficult it is to get your paws on a tank from World War II? It's not easy.
I see where you're coming from, but there's something called green screen.
There is nowadays, but most war films haven't been made when there was green screen, and you know it would have looked bloody awful.
Most war films were made in an era when war films technically weren't even cool yet.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, the most recent type war films have been more realistic. So, for example, take Fury. Fury does actually use the Tiger 131 to portray the Tigers.
Even if they had to bribe Bovington for a good amount of money for that.
Yeah, they probably had to. But yeah, it's you know, so they are using. But the thing is, they're also using sometimes the wrong Shermans, and you see that a lot. Because some of the surviving Shermans aren't the World War II Shermans, and they're called Sherman HVSS, which are Korean War Shermans. So, but it's so difficult to get your hands on stuff from that period of time, especially it working, which was why it was a big deal when they found a Panther G in full working order in a guy's basement in Germany a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I saw that, and they had to take it.
The breeder Panther.
No, it was a proper late war Panther G in full working order.
Full working order.
He was a collector.
Yeah,
he was a collector. He had a bunch of weapons in his basement and a full-on Panther in his basement. That's sick. Just imagine every day waking up to the lovely thing of looking at a tank.
Yes,
Oh,
some
no.
people wake up to a cup of tea, a cup of coffee, maybe a cookie. This man wakes up to a tank.
Yeah. When I was in the army, I was based in Germany, and I was based at a place called Bergen-Belsen Lager, which is a big army camp.
Wait, you were in the army?
Yeah, long time ago.
Oh, my mind
And,
just gets blown every day.
And Bergen is on the edge of the Hohner tank range, massive tank range in northern Germany, which stretches from Hohner, which is which is the barracks, which is a small village called Bergen, all the way to Fallingbostel,
Around
which is.
what era did you serve, Fugit?
I joined in 1988 and I left in 1993, so 5 years.
How old are you? How old are you?
Potters.
I'm very old.
Because I know my father, my own father was in the Dutch tank regiment, and in the time they were actually practicing with the West Germans.
Yeah, in Bergen, the Dutch had a regiment in Bergen,
Yep,
and
but
I was based in Bergen.
Just barely missed my dad because he served from '92 to 2001.
So when we were getting ready for the first Gulf War, we used to have everybody come down to the tank ranges, and I got to drive a Leopard 2 and an Abrahams and a Challenger and all those sort of things. And I got to fire them, which was great. And I remember one day there was a big sort of kerfuffle throughout the base, that one of the American tank crews who'd come down from a place called Gallstadt, near Bremerhaven, up in the very north of Germany. That's where Hell on Wheels is based, which was their tank division, had hit something on the range. And you know when a tank has hit something metal because it looks like a massive firework has gone off, yeah?
Yep.
So this American tank, they were shooting soft targets, which don't have these big things. They'd hit something down the range at approximately 2 kilometers from where they were, and this thing just erupted. So we had to close all the range because they thought that maybe a civilian, because there's a road that runs through the range, through the middle of it. So I had to close everything down, get the police out and everybody. And everybody thought that maybe they'd hit a car or something. Some car had broken in or whatever. What it was, Bergen, the Hohner range is like a marsh, okay? It's like marshground. And what had happened is that over time, a tank had come out of the marsh, and it was a fully functioning Tiger II that now had a beautiful hole in the turret where a depleted uranium round had gone through from an Abrahams.
That's lovely.
My dad told me about that one.
It was awesome. So they took about 4 days to dig this thing out of the mud, and then they brought it to the tank park, and he had this. It was very rusty. You know, you couldn't tell who it belonged
I mean,
to.
the thing was in the dirt for
Yeah,
17 years.
basically, yeah, it'd been in the dirt for a long time. But you know, apart from the rubber, everything else, all the metal stuff, had all corroded and rusted away. Well, so rusted and rusted away, but you could see, you know, it was a functioning Tiger II. And apparently it's been
Just
done up, and
imagine-
it's in one of the it's in Munster, I think, or one of the other tank museums in Germany. So
Just imagine you're training in a tank and then you hear this massive explosion go off. And then you walk over to see a tank.
you don't actually. Do you know what? When you sat in a tank and you press the fire button and the thing goes bang, inside the tank it doesn't go bang. It's really weird.
It's weird because I have the same. On the outside, you think that gives like a massive bang. Everyone in the crew must be deaf. It's like a weird kind of pop that you hear. It's really weird.
But the other thing is, if you ever see a tank in real life firing, it moves backwards with the recoil on its tracks.
Well, that makes sense.
And when you fire inside the turret, it still moves back on its tracks. And it's like all the dust stays still in the turret. So you have a sensation of moving back with the recoil, but all the dust sort of stands. It's surreal. It's very, very surreal.
That's why a lot of tankers are specifically trained to that kind of stuff, because it can bring a lot of inexperienced people really nauseous because of that.
Yeah, it's
So you actually need
good
specified
fun.
training to go against that.
Yeah.
The thing is, I went to Bovington and I saw the Mark 1 or Mark 2 or something like that shoot, and everyone around us just got so scared because they didn't see the tank shoot because everyone was surprised, and I was just like, that tank is shot, and it was the loudest noise, the loudest thing ever.
Mhm. Hang on a minute. Galactic Tech. That's correct. Not a single Panther tank had a Schmauturn turret stuck on it in real life. What you have,
No
The-
one had it.
there's a bit of a misnomer here. The Americans captured the only Panther 2 prototype, and the Panther 2 hull basically looks like a Tiger 2. But
On a
shortened.
diet.
But shortened. Yeah, it's like a smaller Tiger 2. And the British at the same time had captured 3 or 4 Schmauturn turrets. So the Americans took one of the Schmauturn turrets and stuck it on top of the Panther 2 hull, and hence was born. That's what the Panther 2 looked like. But apparently that's not what the Panther 2 was going to look like. So it's
There's
one
so
of those
many
things.
There's so many things we still have yet to find out about the war.
Oh, there's loads. There's loads of stuff. It's like I mean, I've been to Bovington. I've trained in Bovington on when I was in the army and stuff.
Oh yeah, there's a tank.
That's not just that. There's a staff college there as well for officers.
Mm.
So there's more to it than just the tanks. But
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. You think you know about tanks and stuff. It's only when I went to Russia and went to Kubinka, the big tank museum there, that your eyes really do get opened, because some of the tanks they've got in Kubinka never saw action on the Western Front.
Yeah, because they made so many tanks.
Well, not just that; it's the German versions as well. I mean, they've got the mouse is there, which in real life is absolutely huge. It is absolutely
It's a-
huge.
It's as
I
if you're
thought- I
standing
thought
next to a
both-
house.
I thought both mouse were destroyed.
No, only one. There were 2 of them.
Yeah.
One had the turret blown off, the other one was the hull unrepairable. In the end, the Russians were like, huh, 1 + 1.
Isn't the
Let's
story
go.
like? Isn't the story like 2 Russian guys found both tanks and threw a grenade in, or something like that?
Say again.
Isn't the story like there's 2 Russian soldiers which found both mouse
No.
right next to each other and blew them up?
No, they weren't next to each other. They were in there. It's not the factory, so to speak. It's like the testing ground. The gun works, but they had no engines or anything. And they were just they were going to be used basically as defensive purposes. When the Russians were turning up, that they discovered that the tanks were absolutely bloody useless. The Germans did, so they destroyed them. And the one they destroyed, it blew the turret off completely, and basically didn't wreck the turret, but sort of wrecked the turret. Sorry, and then the other one just wrecked the entire hull and left the turret intact. So the Russians picked up the working turret from the wrecked hull and pushed the broken turret away and stuck it on the hull from the broken turret tank. So that's how you get a mouse,
That
basically.
being said, if you were to look at the inside of the
There's
mouse
nothing there.
currently
It's empty.
in existence, you'll notice it's completely hollow. There's nothing left. Not even the gun breech.
No,
is
there's
there.
nothing there. There's nothing there. There's nothing there at all.
Didn't the mouse have like a crew of 6, 7, 8, something like that?
Nobody knows because it never really worked.
Hitler liked the mouse project, and he even planned to make 250 mouse tanks.
Yeah, and they've only made 2 and they failed miserably.
That's
They
because it
didn't
was
even see
that's because
battle.
it was a completely useless bloody tank.
They couldn't even get across the
But it
bridges.
couldn't
So
cross
it
the
was too
bridges.
heavy. Yeah, it was
Like the
way
Russian.
too heavy.
It's a completely
you-
useless tank. It's too heavy. It's 168 tons.
188 tons.
The best thing they could
I mean,
have done.
even
188 fully
there are
loaded.
bridges in Europe that can't support it.
No, there's no bridges. No bridges can, and it would. I mean, even with its wide tracks, the chances are it was gonna. It couldn't have a road to go on, and it would sink in any marshland, or it's just
The
stupid
best
tank.
thing they could have done. The best
Same
thing they
goes
could
to
have done
the
is taken
gra-
an armored train, stuck the turret on that.
I mean, they had armor trains. That
Yeah, they did.
That's
that,
what
to be honest.
they should have taken the mouse turret and stuck it on the train.
That's what
Also-
Captain do. It couldn't go anywhere. It couldn't go anywhere, and it was a completely useless tank.
And
Do you guys
when
know-
it did move,
Have you guys
when
ever
it did,
seen the image of the mouse and the storm tiger being transported by the Russians?
Yeah,
I saw one.
yeah.
I
Do you
saw.
know the story behind that picture?
no,
The first flatbed that they put the mouse on didn't support it, so it basically was like, yep, nope, and it bent over. Also, while constructing the route to get the mouse to the testing grounds, they had to make sure to not run over any sort of bridge or tunnel because the thing would literally collapse under the weight of the train. There were such an amount of precautions taken, it's absolutely stupid.
Oh, it's a crazy tank. When you see it in real life, you appreciate how crazy it is. Come on, camera, stop being crazy.
I'm just saying, when it did move, it ripped up all the ground where the tracks were.
Of course it will. It's
It-
mega heavy. Hang on a minute. Spicy. No, there are two Schmautern turrets. Two. One is ripped to shreds, and it resides
One
in
is still.
it resides in
Yeah,
Bovington, where the British tested it about penetration, and the other one is fully intact, and it sits atop a Panther 2. What used to be at Aberdeen Proving Grounds, but I think it's now been moved to Fort Benning. The entire tank
In America,
in America.
The Panther 2 hull only. I saw a picture. Only.
No, it's got the turret as well.
Hull.
I believe it's got the turret too.
Speaking of which, can we just
no.
appreciate the amount of effort that the guys on Fort Benning are going to restore their infantry?
Yeah, they're doing well. They are doing well.
Like the work that they did on the T80, on the T28, T95 is insanely fast.
Fugit, I have a big favour to ask you. This is totally out of context. But
Oh no, yeah, no, hang on, no, you are right, Spicy. It's not. It's a Panther G turret they've stuck on it, not a Schmautern. The Schmautern turret, I've seen. There is a Schmautern turret in Bovington, but it's ripped to shreds, absolutely ripped to shreds. Because I've seen it, and they fired it, and there's hardly anything left of it. But you can see it is a Schmautern.
Swedes wanted a King Tiger in their collection.
I mean, the British have got a King Tiger, but they've got the Porsche version, by the way, because there are two versions of the Tiger too. There's the Porsche version, which is a round turret. Okay, it's like a roundish turret. And then you've got the Henschel turret, which is the box one that everybody knows. And it was the Henschel one that was meant to be the production turret. And at Bovington, they've got the Porsche turret version. Whereas in Kubinka, they've got the Henschel version.
Both of them, I think.
No, they've only got an Henschel.
wait,
Off subject.
Fugit,
Yeah.
the main battle tank for the UK right now is the Challenger 2, right?
Correct.
There's a story, I think it's true, of a Challenger 2 being hit by like 50 RPG shots or less, or I might be exaggerating.
Do what?
And it still survived. 50 or like 25
Yeah,
RPG shots surviving in like Afghanistan or something like that.
It depends. I mean, RPGs are a grenade with a squash head. Okay.
Yeah.
So what happens with an RPG when it fires? It's like a heat round. Yeah. It's not armor piercing. It's like a heat round. So the reason why, if you have a look at the front of an RPG, it's flat. It looks like an egg, and then it goes flat, and the flat bit hits, and then basically it mounts, and it uses chemical energy to then blow shit up. Whereas Challenger tanks, Challenger 2s, the M1, Abrams, and most model battle tanks now have a thing called Chobham
don't know.
armor. They have a thing called
What-
Chobham armor, which is a
Actually,
ceramic.
Is that true? Because at Bovington, on the description of the Challenger 2, it says armor and there's nothing.
I know, because it's classified.
Yeah.
It's called Chobham armor, and the composition of Chobham armor is top secret, classified. But it's
So
a
that's why
it's
they
a
don't say it, because
it's a
the tanks
yeah,
act
it's a
as
ceramic composite armor, and nobody knows other than the people in the various facilities that make this stuff and test this stuff know the true what it's actually made of, what the what the ingredients are. But it's basically, some people have said, well, it's like carbon fiber mixed with something else, but nobody knows. Nobody really knows.
No.
Do you know the only
This is a
Challenger, the only Challenger 2 tank which has been lost in combat? No, it hasn't been lost in combat. Was by friendly
Hasn't
fire
been
by
used in any
another
combat.
Challenger 2.
Hasn't been used in combat.
What, the
Yes,
Challenger
it
2?
has. Yes.
Challenger and Challenger 2 were both used in combat. Challenger 1s were used in the first Gulf War. Challenger 2s were used recently in Afghanistan and Iraq.
Okay, can I add some points? First of all, you can know what almost anything what is made of, but the hard part is how it's made.
Correct. It's how it's put together. Yes.
Yeah. So they can, you can take a piece of that and send it to Chinese lab. They can know what it is made of, but they cannot know for sure how it is made.
And it's not just how it's made. When I was in the army, when I was in Bovington, funnily enough, I was speaking to one of the guys who works there in the R&D section, and it's not just how it's made; it's how they then layer it onto the tank. They layer it in such a way to give it additional strength.
The
So
complex task.
it's very complex.
So there's
Yeah.
a lot of things. The other thing is, when you say war, the Gulf War, what do you mean by that? Because from it was a war. Like
Well, which
from
one?
your perspective,
Well, I went.
what is a war?
Well, I went to the first Gulf War, which was officially termed the first Gulf War in 1990, 1991. And a war is hostilities declared under international treaties. Funnily enough, everything else is merely a conflict. So, for example, the Falklands was not a war as such; it was a conflict.
Because it was only one island.
No, it was because war was never declared officially. Funnily enough.
Well, it was all about the little island.
It doesn't matter how big the territory is. It doesn't matter how long the war lasts. I mean, the British went to war. The British went to war with a small African nation in I can't remember what century it was, early 19th or late 19th or early 20th. That lasted an hour, but it was still a war.
Oh yeah.
It's still a war.
So the Iraqis lost the Gulf War because of what?
They didn't.
Wanted the oil wells.
Well, we got you
There's
again.
no winner in war. There's no winner in
Well,
war.
the first Gulf War. I mean, I know a little bit about it. I was there. Nobody won the first Gulf War. Well, they did. It depends how you look at it. Now, everybody hang on. Everybody misunderstands the first Gulf War. The first Gulf War was not to invade Iraq and take out Saddam Hussein. The first Gulf War was to push Iraq out of Kuwait. That was it. Nothing else. And to that extent, the first Gulf War was a victory for the coalition forces because the Iraqis were pushed out of Kuwait. And now a lot of people think, well, nobody won that war because the Iraqis managed to keep Saddam Hussein and their territory was not invaded and the regime stayed, and the coalition forces didn't push into Iraq. That wasn't the idea. The resolution that sent us to war only allowed us to move the Iraqis out of Kuwait, which was done successfully. Simple. End of. Oof. Now the second Gulf War is one I don't agree with. Technically a lot more difficult because that was regime change. That was completely different. Completely different.
Independence of Kuwait has been restored, by the way. The
Correct.
Kuwait restored its
Correct.
independence.
Correct.
And,
And that was what the first Gulf War was designed to achieve, to get the Iraqis out of Kuwait, and that was
Thanks
it.
for having me.
Oh, you got to go. Bye.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
That was the sole aim of the first Gulf War. Nothing else. Nothing else. So, and a lot of people misunderstand that. A lot of people think that the first Gulf War was designed to, I don't know, take out Saddam Hussein or regime change or whatever. And it wasn't. It was never designed to do that. Not
By
at
the way,
all.
did you know that during the Iraq War, this is completely unrelated by the way, that they had the name of the operation changed because the initials of the operation would land down to oil.
Well,
The original name of the operation was called Operation Iraqi Liberty.
well, this is the second Gulf War, yeah. The second Gulf War.
Yeah, but like I said, it would change down to Operation Iraqi Liberty, from which the initials would come down literally to oil.
Okay, fair enough.
You can imagine why the Americans changed that.
Yeah, I mean the first Gulf War. Oh, we had lots of different names for that. I mean, the Americans called it Desert Storm, and
yes,
we called it Operation Granby. So the British called it Op Granby, and then the Americans called it Desert Storm, and then it would change to Desert Shield. so there was lots of different names for all these things. So, but Operation Granby was the first one for the British anyway.
Right.
Yeah,
British called it Operation Desert Shield.
Yeah. So Op Granby was the code name given to the first Gulf War, as I said, by the British, whereas the Americans called it Desert Storm. So, because the Americans like being a bit grandiose in their in their way of doing things, where the British are a bit more laid back. It's like one of the operations that makes me giggle all the time was one of the named operations in Vietnam, where it was the B-52 bombing raids on northern Vietnam. And it was called Operation Rolling Thunder, as if anybody could be in any disillusionment of what that was actually designed to do, and it was just designed to blow shit up. And it was hilarious. So, but yeah, they have lots of things like that. It's like I
Now I
remember.
can recommend a channel for history types like the Breda Tank and etc. Its name is Mark Felton Productions. It is very good and real. Some of the unknown things that I watched it is the sixth beach in Normandy. Didn't believe it. 6 beaches instead of 5.
Oh, they were going to do lots
It
of
was
things.
weird.
Normandy wasn't the first plan. The first plan was Pas de Calais, but then they realised if they went to the Pas de Calais, it'd be a nightmare. So that's why they picked Normandy, and then trying to allocate who was going to go where, and then they tried to pick successful beaches, and contrary to popular belief, Omaha Beach, which is one of the American beaches, was an absolute nightmare for them. But not as much as the Pointe du Hoc, which is just down from Omaha Beach, and taken by the U.S. Rangers. I mean, that was even worse. And the worst thing about Pointe du Hoc, when they got to the top of it, because it was meant to be, the reason why they had to take it is because they had this huge gun battery on the top of this cliff, basically, that they had to climb. The Americans had to climb the cliff and then fight. And the reason they had to take it is because this huge gun battery dominated Omaha Beach, and they could have absolutely destroyed everything. And when the Americans got to the top, it had not been finished. There was no guns there and nothing. So, complete pointless exercise that cost a lot of lives, unfortunately. So, yeah, it happens. Welcome to war. Oh, I guess we've run out of Blitz stuff.
Mistakes are made by many.
So somebody wanted an age reveal. Well, I'm actually 48. I'm an old fart. I'm actually older than Bushka, but I still have them on my hair, as you can see.
Oh, that's odd. You're younger than my dad, but you served earlier.
I know, bizarre, eh? So, well. So there you go. Yeah, I'm an old git. Basically.
He's an old geezer.
Oh, yeah, I'm an old geezer. 48 coming on 49 next year, actually, in March. So, God, I'm really old.
So,
Can't keep up with all you young
about
whippersnappers.
the history of Fugit.
Yeah, well, I can't keep up with all you younger whippersnappers. That's why I'm so much of a noob at this game.
I'm innocent. Don't take
You know, you guys forget. I mean, I'm an old fart competing against you teenagers and millennials in a game. Oh, it's so difficult for me. You're only as old as you feel, basically. So that's about it, because we've got no more Blitz news, because, well, the biggest topic was ATGMs this time. I mean, the Emil 1 has been nerfed as well, and apparently it's not the tank it used to be.
made it a huge tank. Only the turret armor is good. The armor is kept, no problem.
I mean, that was the whole purpose of the tank, to be a whole down tank.
Absolutely.
Not just be, hey, look, I'm here. Fuck
No,
you.
Matthew, it's not OP.
If you want that, you can go back playing the WZ121 GFT or the Annihilator.
It's not OP in the slightest, Matthew. Not the Cent 5 one. It's a nice tank, but not OP. What does RAC mean? Royal Australian Armoured Corps. So that's what RAAC means. The Royal Australian Armoured Corps. Starry, see, 47. See, we have to stick together, man, because we are. I tell you, we put these youngsters to their rights. I tell you, playing this game. Don't care what they say. You're never too old to play this game. And be decent at it. So yeah, I'm telling you.
You're a dying breed in many ways.
No, well, everybody's a dying breed in many ways. But yeah, keep telling everybody, just because you're an old git like me doesn't mean to say you can't play the game and enjoy it. Of course you can. Of course you can. I do. There you go. Anyway, hi Owen. Unfortunately, no, I'm not Turkish, but welcome. Don't know any Turkish, to be fair. So, as I'd say, welcome in Turkish, but I only know, certain languages: English, bad Russian, incredibly bad French and German, and incredibly bad Arabic, despite the fact I've lived here for, 15 years?
Till now, I'm still learning German, so I can live in Germany.
Mate, I'm still learning Arabic and I've lived here for 15 years.
And you still cannot learn it? I learned it in 1 year when I was a kid.
I learned English in 1 year when I was a kid. Amazing.
Still 1 year. I think it's only 5 years.
Oh, dear. Shway. Anyway, I think that's it for today, guys. I think we haven't got much else to talk about. I think we're going to have more to talk about next week when the next plan of action, when the next sort of event comes out. Blitz Fair will be looming on the horizon, and next week will give us more things to discuss, like tanks and stuff like that, no doubt, and snow globes and things. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Pija boys prepare your
Fine, give us opinions, anything. Give us subjects. In the stream, give us anything. We can talk about anything.
Yeah, we can talk about whatever you want to talk about. TVP. I don't know, it's still being tested. That's not due to release for a long time yet.
And by the way, they say the 50 TP is in the RU server testing. Still not come out. Even Brooders is waiting for it.
No, I've got the TVP in my garage, but as a super tester. So I've got it, but as a tester, because it's on the test. I'll show you after this game, but I can't show you that. I'll show you it's in my garage, but I can't show you anything else. I can't show you its stats or anything. But you can see that the tank exists. But it's test. It's purely under test. So The reason why we're not allowed to show you anything is because when they're under super test, the tanks are not the tanks that you're going to get in the game. Basically, that's why it's all so secretive. So you can't tell anybody how the tank performs, what its stats like, is it any good, is it any bad, blah blah blah. You can't say anything because it would just.
Say it to Drudels.
You can't say anything about it.
Say it to Drudels.
You can't say anything about it.
Say it to Drudels because he.
No, he's
leaked the
not.
M41
No, he's
leak.
not. He's not a tester. He's not testing the tanks. I can assure you of that.
Yeah,
And-
he does that. But leaks different. Hope he don't. Top War Game don't remove his tanks.
Well,
Testing tanks from him.
leaks are different. I mean, you know, most data mining. Most guys, some YouTubers get their stuff from data mining, and all data mining realistically is getting part of the stuff that's already in the public domain, albeit not officially released. So when I say that, I mean basically what happens is this: when Wargaming do an update, that update, along with the tanks included in that update and anything else, events, nerfs, buffs, blah blah blah, has to be sent to the companies that are going to distribute it, i.e. Apple, Google, blah blah blah, the app stores, about 2-3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks, maybe a month before the release date. Yeah.
Sometimes 2 months or 3 months.
So they upload everything to the app stores. Well, it's not the app stores, but it's similar. Long before they're released, so they can go through it to make sure that it complies with the requirements of the agreements they've got. And it's at that point when Wargaming upload this stuff to the likes of Apple, blah blah blah, that it partly becomes public domain and can be hacked and data mined. Yeah. That's where you get the leaks from. So that's how the leaks come about. But some of what you're seeing is not 100% correct. Some is, but some isn't. And for example, you know, some of the things that certain YouTubers do, or I won't name, is educated guesses. Okay. So some guys will do educated guesses and say, "Wow, I've seen the tank, its stats or whatever, or its kind of stats on Blitzhanger. So I'm going to take an educated guess of what it's going to be like." Doesn't necessarily need to say it's going to be like that. So, and then okay, sometimes people cross the line and they get things from super testers, which is a
No,
big
you
no-no.
can still just mention Pantoof, right? You don't have to hold his name back. Everybody knows him.
No, it's not just Pantoof who does it, to be honest with you. Pantoof's not the only one. There are Russian people who do it. There are people, YouTubers in Blitz who do it. So just to put you in the picture, I'm going through my garage now, and if I go on to the European line, oh, it's gone. It's been taken off. So I did have it. It's still being tested, so I've no longer got it. The TVP was there, and it's not there anymore.
Is the TVP the LTVZ in 38 in the Chinese line, tier 2 one? It's a Czech tank, by the way. It's not a Chinese.
Yeah.
Wargaming wanted to make it a Chinese in the Chinese.
So the
line.
TVP was there, but it's gone now because it was part of the super test. So I haven't got it anymore. So that's just how it happens. But I have played it. I have played it, and I think it's in my. Some tanks are in my garage. I don't know. I don't know if
If
it's
the
still.
IS-3A was added to the game, it will be different than the IS-3 defense. It will be the first heavy
Yeah,
tank
let's go about my
to
stats.
have the first Russian tank to have an auto reloaded gun.
I don't know. I mean, like I said, I can't say anything about the tank. Not a thing, unfortunately. Bear with me, because I'm just going to.
But Wargaming can take your tanks. That's why.
I'll probably just get kicked out of the game here. So but that'll happen. Yeah, I mean, I have played the TVP, but like I said, it's still under test and it's a long way off. So you just have to wait on that one. But yeah, it happens. So you will see them every now and then. You will see them coming around. As you can see on the loading screen here, that's an AMX. Yes, it is. So that may make an appearance at some stage. It may do. Let me just disconnect again. Just want to check something. So that may make an appearance because it's being shown. So it may make an appearance over the next event. Don't know yet. We'll soon find out. But on the grounds that they're showing it as part of the screen thing, then chances are, yeah, it's probably going to happen. So,
I think that the Type 64 needs a gun depression buff.
It's gone. So yeah, it's come out of my garage because, as I said,
Did somebody mention this Type 64 buff?
Yeah, I mentioned it.
Yeah, thank you, Matthew.
8 degrees is a little bit very hard for a light tank. Played the tank is very good.
What is in your garage though, if you've if you getting it, is this the Sheridan missile tank, which you can only play in special game modes. But there it is.
Even training rooms. Training rooms are being filled with Sheridan missiles.
Yeah.
Very many.
You can't change it. You can't change the camo or anything. It comes like that, and that's what it's going to look like.
Good. Camo was good for me. And the rear of the tank is like
you can't because you can't change it. You can't really see it full on. But that's what it looks like. This free tank that you would have got.
It has a green light laser. It is very good for the tank.
And of course
even
the Sheridan.
For the engine and the sidewinder.
I mean, it looks exactly the same, but now obviously the Sheridan's ammunition has changed. So
yes.
And as you can see there, the penetration is still 295, 326, and still up to 613 damage. Go back to this one, the ammunition, it's exactly the same. The difference being, if you have a look at, where is it? Dispersion is 0.403.
Question from Hedgehog. A question from Hedgehog in a canoe. Will they ever release a jagged Yak Tiger E100 legendary skin? Maybe. I would like it if they
potentially. See the dispersion is changed. That's the thing.
Dispersion is 3.
A legendary skin for the Yak Panda, to be honest.
Yes, me too. And even for the
eventually they'll issue legendary skins for almost every tank in the game once they get round to it. But they've got to get round to doing it. So there you go.
Even for the E3, it needs a legendary camo. Not much, but only legendary camo. Because the E4 has the combat star one. Weird.
And the E5 has legendary too, doesn't it?
Yes, it has the rebel one.
Yeah, the E5 has this camo.
The rebel one.
I want a legendary.
T57.
The pattern has this one.
Oh.
That's the pattern's legendary.
For a VK72.
And then it's not just Americans. Let's drop that. So let's go for the Germans. The E100 I think is boring. It's just black. The E100.
Stalwart. Not good.
The E50M is
E50M is very good.
Got this one.
Little bit white and black and yellow. White, black and yellow. It's very good.
So it's quite snazzy is the E50M's camo. I think anyway. And then the Leo I think is quite snazzy with its camo. I mean that's quite
Day
Nice.
one camo is very good.
That's the
wild.
VK90's legendary camo.
The blade one is ancient.
And then this
medieval
one doesn't have a legendary camo, unfortunately. It's got epic. But
Also, personal gripe.
Epic.
Hate me or love me for it, but I hate the fact that the Union Jack on the A45 is not a legendary camo.
no, it's not, which is strange.
I hate it.
And then the T62, you got
You
that.
have one
Which
job.
one? The
Mark.
FV21?
And the IS7, you've
A45?
got that. The object doesn't
Yeah,
have
not
one.
good. British one is not
The
good.
Union Jack on that is not
See,
a
doesn't
legendary
have
camo,
one.
and I'm just sitting here like, why?
That's the
You did it on the
268.
Titan, why not on this thing?
And even for the
British.
AMX M449, I thought it's a legendary camo named
That's the
AMX
legendary.
M449 Liberté.
So that's the legendary camo for the Mark 6.
I mean, that's what it is on the PC, the Liberté.
Yes.
And
World
then
Tanks PC is a little bit better than
Conk, that's
this.
for that one.
Because they
You
have
got, you
many-
got two for the
many
Conk
premium.
actually.
Also, at 263 legendary camo.
And you got
260. Yes, it has.
the FV doesn't have
They
one.
give it here.
No, the 268 has. The
Unfortunately,
263 doesn't.
doesn't have one.
268 have one. It's the Chaser
But the
one.
263 doesn't.
That one
Oh,
has
my
one,
God.
but it's got two. But it hasn't got
One
the other
difference.
one come out yet, which is annoying. Then the Vickers has that. And then
Even
the Badger has
VK
that.
72. It doesn't
The
have a
FV doesn't
legendary
have
camo.
one, look. Doesn't have one, the FV.
Which one?
And then the
VK
183 has
72,
that, which is
0.01K.
pretty dull, to be fair.
The VK72 doesn't have one, no.
Japanese, the STB,
Oh,
that's the
that's
STB one, which is pretty, I like the STB one.
Even the WZ one,
That's the Ho
121.
Re.
It's actually medium.
WZ121 doesn't, but a 121B does.
Don't think the Japanese have.
Yeah, 120B is not good. It's only worth it for credits.
I don't like
The-
the 113's
the
legendary. I
Japanese
think it's boring.
Black and gold.
I think it's boring, the 113.
They make it full gold.
121B, again,
No, it's already
not
doing your
not
face.
keen on that.
It doesn't need to be worse than it already is.
Not keen on the 121B.
The
The
Type
121
59 gold
itself doesn't have
World
one.
Tanks PC server.
115A, that's it. That doesn't have one. See? So not all of them have them. This one doesn't have one either. Oh, it does. It's got the fish one, which I think is pretty dull.
The Chieftain Mark 6 one. It has good camo for the tank. It's a British, very good camo
Yeah,
for
it's
it.
carrying the Union Jack.
French,
Which
50B.
FB 4202 gets camo, legendary one.
French,
very good.
French, the 50B has that, which is pretty nice actually. Quite nice camo. 50B. And then the Batchat has that one, which is quite nice. Then the
I love the
30B.
Batchat camo.
The 30B doesn't have one.
Fun fact, the
And the
Batchat was my
Foch.
first tier 10, and I held off the longest of times to get the legendary
Foch
camo.
has that one, which it's
Then one day
okay.
I was like, oh, what the fuck, I might as well. And literally the match after I bought the legendary camo, I mastered it.
And then you got the Kranwagen, which has this one, and it has the other one. It's got this one.
My
sorry.
first heavy, my first
And then the
camo is,
Progetto. I don't
VK.
understand the Progetto's camo, to be fair, but why it's
My
first-
legendary.
Tier 10 heavy
And
was
that's it. That's it, really, for tier 10.
Nice.
But there's plenty of them. Anyway.
Also, it does have to be noted that I'm one of those people that didn't buy a premium tier 10 until I actually mastered a tier 10, so
Yeah,
the good old days.
absolutely. And with that,
Yep.
we've been on for an hour and a half, and there's not much else to talk about today. We'll come back.
Time to stop listening to these rambling old people.
We can
Yes.
talk about things we want in World Tanks Blitz.
Go and enjoy your Saturday, and we'll come
Catch
back.
us next.
We're going to come back next week anyway to do it all again. With there'll be more topics, next week. So until then, I'm going to knock this one on the head, guys. I'm not going to be playing today, but I'll be playing live streaming as per usual tomorrow. Yeah, man. So with that, enjoy the rest of your Saturday. It is Saturday, yeah? Yeah. I keep getting
Yeah,
confused. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday,
morning.
wherever it may be, and whatever it may bring. No doubt there will be plenty of people streaming later. Probably every good name is taken.